if you do that, people like Jesse on Fire, who have more self-awareness and are very clear on what kind of people play the holier-than-thou game, we're going to look at you and go, hey, dude, come here for a second. Come here. I'm going to hold you by your ears. Can you open your mouth as wide as it can go? Why? What are you going to put in there? Nothing that you won't need counseling for. Wait, what? I will need counseling? Don't think too hard about it. Just open your mouth. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, we're going to talk about Conor McGregor and DC's beef. They had some serious beef, son. Serious beef. Now, here's the thing. The point of this video is not going to necessarily be all about DC and Conor's beef. I'm going to, kind of outlay what happened here a little bit, but then I'm going to talk about why they're allowed to have beef and why the majority of people aren't. It's just stupid, Stupid as it relates to Conor in general. But yeah, so buckle in. If you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. I recently found out that I'm considered a thought leader among people who actually matter in this industry. So all those people, look at you, you don't even, oh my God, you act like your channel is a big deal, bro. You have like 30,000 subscribers. Oh yeah? Well, you want to know who those subscribers are? People that you pay to watch, like when they're headlining. So, how you like me now, dude? How you like me now? Babies. Anyway, so we're going to talk about this Conor McGregor thing because I can't take it anymore. I literally can't take it. I can't take dog piles, man. I can't take it. I can't stand it. I hate when people stand on a mountain of virtue and they're like, you know what? I see how that man behaves and I know that by comparison, it makes me a good person. Look at the thing he did. Look at the thing that guy said. He said a thing that was not nice. Now, Colby Covington made an excellent point that I saw where he said, you're mad at a guy because he said a mean thing, but then you're going to pay to watch him get locked in a cage and then watch the two guys beat the brain cells out of each other? Well, look at you and your logic. So, oh, Lord, geez. Oh, he said a mean thing. Oh, did he? I mean, yeah, I would say that one thing that he said about COVID and Nurmagomedov, that was in potentially poor taste for sure. As a matter of fact, it was in poor taste. But anything else that he said, literally any other thing that he said sounds like par for the course to me. And just who cares, dude? Okay? Like, look, if you're Dustin Poirier and Conor says blah, 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 whatever, he's allowed to get mad if he wants. Although I think he's probably smart enough to know that anything Conor says is good hype for their future fight that he's going to buy 5 houses with, right? So but nonetheless, him being mad makes sense, right? Khabib being mad makes sense. And even DC being mad makes sense since he knew Nurmagomedov very well and is very protective of Khabib because they're brothers, right? There's that whole thing. So that all makes sense. But the run-of-the-mill UFC fan in the comments, boo, 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 Conor is the worst person ever. I'm like, oh my God. Can you come over here for a second? You in the comments, just for a second. Come here. Tell me about your problems, man. So when you get that bent out of shape, right? Like you actually legitimately were mad right there. Like I saw the passion in your writing. Like, why? Why are you so upset? That's a disgusting thing to say, okay? So have you ever said anything that was disgusting? You ever said anything that you regretted afterwards? Have you ever said anything in a fit of rage that later on you were like, oof, maybe I could have held that one back and kept it in the holster? No, I haven't. Nothing like that. Really, nothing like that. Never anything like that. You, Mr. Control, I just read 5 of your comments. You are an angry little elf, okay? You're an angry person. The way that you manifest your own anger is you like to chastise other people for saying mean things, as if that makes you good by comparison. Can I give you a spoiler alert? Ready? It's a spoiler, but you're just gonna have to take it. You're not a good person, dude. You're not a good person. You in the comments yelling about what other people did is no different than a person who yelled a thing back at one of their arch rivals, okay? So take your holier than thou attitude and go ahead and cram it into this bottle and shove it directly up your ass, okay? So now run along, little guy. Go ahead, run along. Go tell someone else how you're a better person than them. Make you'll sleep so well at night because Conor's a piece of shit. Shut up, man. Shut up, okay? Conor might be the greatest fight promoter in the history of the world. What you should be saying is, wow, I don't know what it is, but when Conor fights, it makes me 100 times more likely to pay to watch, which makes the sport 100 times better to watch. So like, maybe I should just kind of sit back and go, the hatred I feel should actually suddenly mold into respect for a guy who's made the sport more fun to watch. Or you can do the thing where you pretend like you're a good person because you're chastising a thing that he said. But if you do that, people like Jesse on Fire, who have more self-awareness and are very clear on what kind of people play the holier than thou game, we're going to look at you and go, hey, dude, come here for a second. Come here. I'm going to hold you by your ears. Can you open your mouth as wide as it can go? Why? What are you going to put in there? Nothing that you won't need counseling for. Wait, what? I will need counseling? Don't think too hard about it. Just open your mouth. I don't know if I want to. It's not an option here. I'm telling you, open your fucking mouth. And then I'll puke directly down your throat. Like I'll vomit all the contents of my stomach down your throat because that's what people like you deserve. The holier than thou thing should just deserve a direct vomit down your throat, you know? So I'm just saying, I'm just saying. Now, if you come from Eastern Europe or you are of you have a certain culture that Conor has directly insulted, okay, that's fine, But I just can't take it, man. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it. Stop acting like you're better than Conor, dude. Just stop it. You can say, wow, he's a dick. Okay? How about that? Wow, he's a dick. But if your comments have the air of, I'm a better person than him, open your mouth. Okay? I'll show you what kind of person you are. You're a person who's about to receive an entire stomach's worth of vomit down your fucking throat. I can't stand it. Okay? I just can't stand it. I love Conor, man. I love that guy. And you know what else? All the other people that are involved. I love DC. There was a moment when I would have paid someone $10,000 to get me directly connected to DC so that I could convince him to come back and fight John Jones one last time, because if he won, it would have been the best fairy tale ending to a career in the history of the sport. I still stand by that. I don't think he's going to come back. But if DC would have done one last fight at heavyweight and it would have been against John Jones and he would have won, I would have cried like a baby. Like a baby. Okay? So don't tell me that I'm hating on DC. I'm just hating on you people hating on Conor. I just can't stand it anymore. I can't stand it. You're not better than him, dude. You're just not, You're just not. Now, anyway, I'm not sure if I communicated the thing that I meant to communicate. So the main point of this video is puke down throat, right? Puke down throat. Keep that in mind. You know how Khabib's dad died of COVID?
Yeah.
So Khabib tweeted after the Dustin and Conor fight, good always defeats evil. And Conor responded, so COVID's good and your father's evil?
That's really fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Not a nice thing to say.
No.
People do not like that.
I do not like that.
He was probably at home and reading through comments as you've seen me do, where I'm like, F these people, man. And then he got to the one where it's like, oh, what does he have to say? And they're all, well, he says I'm evil. And then he just snapped. What do you think would have happened to me if I made $150 million when I was 26 years old?
It wouldn't have been good.
Correct.
No.
That's why I give him a long leash. Can you imagine snapping on a person like that?
I'm not much of a snapper, but I do know somebody who
You're a
is.
slow poisoner. Yeah, that's true. We handle that like you would be all, oh, well, that's a nice thing that he said. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now we're going to talk about Conor McGregor. Look at that. And you know why? Because I touched on this at the end of my Dustin Poirier video the other day about how everyone's just, railing on Conor. They're so angry at him. They're just so angry at what he did. And I just felt like, I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all, actually. I love that guy. And I'll tell you why. Because here's the thing. I don't think that I'm in a position to be morally judgmental of people. I, in my chair, like to watch the show. So the sport that I'm watching, mixed martial arts, there's a reason, well, there's a lot of reasons why this is my favorite sport over all others. And one of them is the deep personal conflict that exists between fighters that they get to solve in the most pure and amazing way that there is. lock yourselves in a cage, fight until one of you guys has your leg broken or goes unconscious or taps out, right? There's nothing that pure in the world anymore, you know? And so a big part of that, that equation has to do with conflict, right? Conflict resolution. Now, of course, the thing that I really love more than anything is the struggle of each guy, the years and the lifetime of dedication to perfecting their craft, to prepare them to test themselves against another competitor, right? And if there's conflict between them, it just makes the stakes that much higher. That's the only reason that conflict makes it better, is it just raises the stakes. Because this would be the highest stakes competition there is anyway. But if you really don't like the guy, that makes it even higher, because what if you lose? And if the guy insulted you and your family and you really have a reason to defend someone's honor, that really raises the stakes. And so the thing about it is, if you are a fan of the sport and there's a person who is constantly making the stakes very, very high in every single competition that they participate in, if you're a person who sits on the sideline and the way that you interpret that, like the way that you're watching and you're like, you know what my input on this is, is I want to be judgmental. I want to look at the thing that they did and just say, wow, it's the kind of thing I would never do, which obviously makes me a good person. I am a good person because I would never do the thing that they did. So I want everyone to know that. You know what? I think it's important that I type that out in a comment. Hey, everyone. I am an anonymous person in the comments, and that guy is a piece of trash. And thus, when you look at this fake name and this fake icon that is the identifier of me, you'll know this guy would never do a thing like that. And thus, I'm a better person than him. And I think everyone should just take note of that. I am a better person than that guy. And here's the thing. That's why if he might have money, it's not because he's more successful than me. It's not that he's more successful. It's not that he's more exciting. It's not that he's more talented. It's not that he's put in more work. It's the devil. It's just the devil at play. If things were the way they should be, I'd have all the money. I'd have all the ladies. Because I never tweet a thing like that about Khabib's dad. Because I'm a good person and he's a bad person, Or at the very least, he's a bad person and by comparison, I'm a good person, So I did not like the thing that he said about Khabib's dad at all. But I also, I don't have to chastise the guy for creating conflict, which is what he's been doing his entire career. I mean, look, there's a huge difference between being like, yeah, I'm not going to jump down a guy's throat for saying a thing like that. I might just be like, oof, that might have been a little bit much. Maybe could have thought better of that particular tweet, but also I have enough self-awareness to know that I don't have any idea what it feels like to be Conor McGregor, right? And people who pretend like they do know what it feels like to be him have no self-awareness. And it would be much better to be a mean guy who would tweet a thing than a person with absolutely no self-awareness. I mean, in my book, I would rather be a self-aware, mean person, That's just me, though. Just me. Because I'm a better person than that guy. See, I'm doing the same thing that I was just chastising them for. I'm all, look at these idiots in the comment. I would never do a thing like that. And thus, I'm a better person than that guy. See, everybody's guilty of all the same stuff, right? Even if you think you're doing something better, you're not. You're not. There's only what you are, what you think you are, and what you pretend to be, right? And how people interpret you, right? That sounded super profound. I don't even know if I can even connect all that. All I'm saying is everyone does that thing where you look at someone else and you're all, geez, pathetic. So when people do the thing to Conor, they're all, I am a better person. When I do it, I'm like, pathetic, that's how I do it, is I look at people and I go, that's pathetic, I am a way tougher, more self-aware and confident person than that pathetic nerd. It's the exact same thing. It's literally the exact same thing. But who looks better, when you really think about it? I do. And you know why? Because if you can make fun of yourself and be self-aware about how, flawed you are as a person, then if people want to judge you, they can. But like if Conor just came out, he's like, yeah, I said that shit. I 100% said it. You want to know why I fucking said it? Because I got mad. And I'm a person who's prone to anger. And you know what? That's why I'm a superstar. because I take that anger and I channeled it towards greatness, and I achieved things that none of you motherfuckers could have. You know what I mean? So why don't you take a long walk right off the end of my dick that you have been perched on for years and years and years, you know? Like you must be getting tired of being on my dick. I mean, geez, you know? It's gonna take you a while though. It's a long road, but go ahead and get started, you know? Just start running. Eventually, you're gonna fall and you'll know you've reached the end of my enormous cock. So thank you for your contributions. Tell me again how you're a better person than me. Oh, look at you. You're such a special little guy. Your mommy taught you all the best ways to behave. Fuck you, okay? Fuck you. So, there are only a couple things that are just objective truths. A, Conor's awesome, and he's really awesome for the sport. B, Khabib is awesome and also really awesome for the sport. C, the reason that their rivalry is so amazing is because the two guys are absolutely polar opposites, inspiring for very different reasons, and they hate each other, okay? Like, I mean, if you don't love watching those two guys go at it, there's something wrong with you. That's why I was holding on so tight to their rematch. But now you get to go, Khabib has retired, and Dustin is there to pick up the mantle. Fuck you, Conor. You said mean things about my family. And Conor's like, oh, we're doing this? Yeah. Fuck you. And they're like, yeah. We're going to do this. And the whole world's all, oh my God. Oh man, don't put me in the driver's seat of managing the narratives that live underneath the UFC. Here's the job that I want, okay? I thought about this afterwards. So I came up with that strategy of Dustin, you know, beats Charles Oliveira, relinquishes the belt, blood feud. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. And I thought about it, I was like, how do I turn this talent into a business? I'll tell you exactly what it is. I'm just gonna say this, you guys can share this with Dana if you want or whoever. The UFC needs to put me on, and I will be in charge of fill in the blank some kind of title where I handle storylines, okay? I'm serious, where I work with the fighters, we come up with storylines and we execute them on social media, okay? Because here's the thing, this is what I've realized, looking at Masvidal and Colby, you know, etc. The public's retarded, okay? Like the public, they are so stupid, it's unbelievable. They'll believe anything, you know? Like, and they'll like believe it to the point where they will like, it is happening. That's why I know I can even say a thing like that and everyone will just go, wait, what does he mean about Colby and Masvidal? They hate each other. Right, yeah, they hate each other. They hate each other because you guys aren't stupid. But yeah, I mean, so if you give me carte blanche and a group of fighters that will participate with me, I can do a hell of a lot better than fucking Leon Edwards, you know, tweeting to Bilal Muhammad, ha ha ha, or Gilbert Burns, ha ha ha, fuck you, Gilbert. It's like, yeah. Gilbert Burns is doing an excellent job, man. He's calling people out. Gilbert Burns has strong fight game, dude. In case you guys haven't been watching that movie, Gilbert Burns has strong fight game on Twitter, right? But if you get two people that can participate and we can WWE this thing, right? Like where you've got things, you can set up things that happen on social media and you capture them. Like as an example, how many of you guys actually believe that John Jones caught an intruder at his house that he chased out with a gun? You guys saw that? You're all, whoa. John Jones, it's lucky that he was paying attention, and on the nest they caught that guy trying to break into the house. Lucky there, you know, lucky. I bet you most of the fighters saw that and they were like, damn. And I watched that, I'm like, okay. I wonder if that's one of John Jones's friends and John Jones leaked that. Or like as an example, even like, I don't know, even the Derek Lewis car break-in situation. I don't know, man. You know, it's just weird how like these things happen to the same people all the time. You know, Derek Lewis somehow gets a fan to come in and fight him full throttle. He knocks him the fuck out in the ring. It's like, you know, these things go viral because some people understand the game. John, say what you want about John, understands the game, right? D. Lou, 100% understands the game. You just never see this stuff happen with certain guys because they don't get it. They don't understand the game they're playing. And I'm saying, put me in the spot where I can teach them. Not only teach them, work with them and go, this is what we're going to do. Because the world will believe anything. I'll have to disappear into the background. People are going to have to forget. They're like, wait, Jesse on Fire works for the UFC? Weird. It's like, no, I don't. Forget you saw that. Forget all the things you saw on this channel. Because there's nothing going on. Absolutely nothing. Yeah. Yeah, them crashing into each other, you know, like that thing about him hitting his kid on a bike. Like, you know, when they were at the the UFC Performance Institute, and that fighter was driving too fast in the parking lot and actually hit that guy's kid who was on a bike, like seriously injured him. No, that really happened. 100% that happened. Yep, it did. You saw the pictures. You saw the aftermath. There were pictures of a kid getting into the ambulance. Of course it happened, dude. Of course it happened. You know, that would be a weird conspiracy theory to believe that an organization would set that up just to hype a fight. I mean, that's crazy talk. You could do metrics. The second you put me in that role, I will drive pay-per-view buys up 30% first year. Fucking guaranteed. Guaranteed. Because I'm crazy. You know, I could think of all the craziest shit that'll make people want to buy. And unless the fighters hate money, they'll participate, you know. Speaking of which, let me tell you what fight I'm excited for. Marvin Vettori and Paulo Costa. And you want to know why? Because those two guys are meatheads and they hate each other for real. Now that's going to be fun. Yeah. So also, I had Gabrielle participate in this a little bit, and I had her talk about Conor McGregor. You know, I was like, what do you think about Conor? And I filled her in. And I'm going to let you guys see that so you guys can see what the casual thinks about Conor McGregor. Also, because she's a smoke show. Anyway, that's what I got. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. All right, Gabrielle. Welcome to Jesse on Fire's channel again. I'm going to use this time. It is your channel. It can be whatever you want. I'm going to use this time to tell you about how people have been treating Conor McGregor, because I think that this is something you might actually know about.
I have really, really, really been wondering about this.
Do you want to know what he did?
Yes.
You know how Khabib's dad died of COVID?
Yeah.
So Khabib tweeted after the Dustin and Conor fight, "Good always defeats evil." And Conor responded, "So COVID's good and your father's evil?"
That's really fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Not a nice thing to say.
No.
People do not like that.
I do not like that.
I didn't like it either. There's no but, actually.
Unfortunate.
There's no but. I just will say this. He was probably at home and reading through comments, as you've seen me do, where I'm like, fuck these people, man. And then he got to the one where it's like, oh, well, this guy beat me up in front of the whole world. What does he have to say? And they're all, well, he says I'm evil. And then he just snapped. That would be my
I'm
guess.
really struggling with this monitor. There we go. Yeah.
Can you imagine snapping on a person like that?
I'm not much of a snapper, but I do know somebody who
You're a
is.
slow poisoner. Yeah, that's true. We handle that like you would be all, oh, well, that's a nice thing that he
Noted.
said. Oh, so something about my dead father. Huh. Geez, what could I do about that? And then you'd figure out a way to put arsenic in his food from across the ocean, and then he would be like, oh, they're like, gosh, Conor's just having all these problems with his recovery. You're all, geez, I can't figure out why that would be.
Pinpoint what it is. It's weird.
Yeah, so if I ever get chronically sick.
It wasn't me.
Shh, you probably saw me looking at an OnlyFans I wasn't supposed to. So anyway, here's the deal. Do you think that people should stop being fans of Conor McGregor because he said something mean to someone who's his rival? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. People have been fans of some pretty awful people before. Mm-hmm. Like, well, it depends on why you're his fan. I mean, he's a good fighter, yes. Mm-hmm. So you could be a fan because he's good at his craft. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, you can be a fan of, like, the character that he's created for himself. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. People like who they like. That's a personal choice. Figure out whatever you want to do with your life, but I'm not a big fan of it.
What do you think about this, though? Really, are you're gonna make your decision about a person based on something they said when they were super mad?
No, but he's also done a lot of crazy shit.
Like what?
Didn't he like throw a chair through a window or something on the bus?
A dolly. Good job. What else?
I mean, he's a lunatic.
I think you'd just call him more of a live wire.
He's a loose cannon.
He is a loose cannon.
Yeah.
Now try to imagine me if I would have gotten Conor McGregor's money.
I also for a little while thought that it was I first, when he first came on the scene, I hated him. I thought he was the worst. He was brash. He was borderline like obnoxious. Mm-hmm. And I really, really, really didn't like him. And then he like went through this phase where he was kind of more reserved. He pulled himself together. He looked a little like polished actually on the outside.
Kind of always looks polished on the outside, but yeah.
Not in the beginning. He was like super like rough around the edges.
Look at you remembering things.
Wow. It's almost like I live with someone who lives and breathes UFC.
It is that way.
And then like it almost felt like he had gotten smart about it. Like it was almost like he was creating this character. a little bit. I was like, oh, maybe he's actually a genius. Maybe he's actually like creating this so he can be in the headlines and get fights and make more money. And
he is
you know, there's no publicity that's bad publicity or whatever the saying is.
Correct.
But now I kind of feel like he's gone to the bad side again.
What do you think would have happened to me if I made $150 million when I was 26 years old?
It wouldn't have been good.
Correct.
No.
That's why I give him a long leash. Because
26.
now he's 31 or 32. Oh. 32. Can you fucking imagine?
A baby singing outside.
Dude, when I was 26 when I met you.
Yeah.
Or 25, 26.
Yeah.
If you parked $100 million in that bank account, you'd have been like, oh, dude, nobody can tell this fucking guy anything. Ever. Not just $150 million. And, oh, by the way, you're the most famous person in the world for being super tough and crush and beating the shit out of people. Dude, I like my feet wouldn't hit the ground ever. I would just be like floating around the air, just like, I guess this world was made for me.
Well, we're very lucky that didn't happen.
I swear to God, that's exactly why the universe protected me from myself, making sure that I didn't get money like that when I was that age.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna need a bigger chair. My back really hurts.
Ooh,
okay.
You want someone to hurt your
back? I gotta
back?
go. It's also 1,000,000 degrees in here. I've gotta go back.
Whatever.
Okay, bye.